Y is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Okay, this is the greatest tie-in promo I have ever heard of in my life.
Okay.
Baskin Robbins created an ice cream flavor to help promote the film.
Oh my.
Can't stop the nuts.
Yeah, that is by far.
The greatest thing ever.
And again, do they get it?
They must.
Get it? Love
So
it.
the yeah, the bio of the film, the plot summary says Ron suggests a new location for rehearsal space at the YMCA. Parenthetically, the ensuing production number features its athletic denizens in various states of undress, which
See,
is the nicest way possible to say that.
there's a lot of naked boys in a shower.
Right. And so
Alert.
is it the cowboy or the leather guy who is the one who's like kind of controlling the village people name now?
I think it, or is it the policeman?
Hold up. Just doing some more research here. Our friend Felipe has been in, up until recently, every single iteration of the band. So since 2023, yeah, all right, so Victor Willis is the sort of the, now, I guess he owns the rights to the name, the characters. So he started it from 1978 until 1972. Willis was married to Felicia Ayers Allen, now Felicia Rashad.
I was gonna say, is that Felicia Rashad?
It sure is.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but Victor is the one who, he like we said, owns the rights to the kind of name and the songs, and is really running the group like he wants it, which is not how a bunch of the other members of the group like it,
Right,
not a political show.
right.
So it's interesting. Wikipedia, again, because this program is nothing but me reading articles off of Wikipedia.
Really, really go to deep sources.
Yes, we're deep diving. It lists the original seven members as so Peter Whitehead, parentheses, nondescript. David Forrest was the cowboy. Mark Musler was the construction worker. Lee Moulton was the biker. Alex Briley was the GI slash nondescript. Felipe Rose, American Indian. Victor Willis, he's the top of the list. Here's what his character is described as: cop slash admiral slash athlete slash gigolo slash nondescript.
Wow.
Yeah. And then as you kind of, as the years go by, he very quickly just switches to cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or admiral, I guess is the other one. All right. Well, we have learned so much about the village people and Can't Stop the Music in such a short
Also,
span of time.
we have, but that makes it so clear, though, all of your description of him having the multiple personas, because often, like, I'll be like, but wasn't there a, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
And try to remember what everybody was. You go, wait, wasn't there a construction worker? And wasn't
Right.
there like a sailor at some point? Or was that just all of them in the Navy?
Yes. Okay. So quickly here, here's what we need to do. We need to set up a screening of this film
Mhm.
and serve ice cream.
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
I don't think you appreciate the gut reaction people have to these things.
Harry, I appreciate it. I'm just reacting to what I was told.
Martin, it's all psychological. You yell barracuda. Everybody says, huh? What? You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Why building a boat, and why the Orca?
Well, like but seemingly millions of people all around the world. I'm a massive Jaws fan. I saw the movie when I was 9 years old. It has a massive effect on me. And I just always had it in the back of my mind that one day I'd like to build the Orca. And then a few years ago, I did a bit of research and figured out that no one else had actually done this, and there wasn't an Orca, not a full size one in the whole world. And I thought, well, that's it. There has to be an Orca that people can come and visit. And if nobody else wants to build one, then I will. So yeah, 3 years down the line and a lot of hard graft, it's finally come to fruition. No one believed I was doing it. I mean, so many people tried to build one and failed miserably in quite a few cases, or haven't built a full size version. So it was very difficult to get any help or support because no one believed I was building it, especially over in the UK. So it was very difficult to get any help or support. And it wasn't until I actually finished it and put some pictures out that people sort of started saying, "Oh my God, you've actually done this!" And of course, it's been about 2 weeks now since she was launched, and I've had people from all over the world come to see her, especially to come to see her, including Canada and the USA. Just flying over, going on the boat, and then flying back, and they've all had the most fabulous time. It's like a pilgrimage, and it's they've been very emotional, and I've just said they have the feedback has been extraordinary, saying it's the best thing they've ever done, the best thing that's ever happened to them since the birth of their children, people,
Wonderful.
yeah, people have been proposing to their girlfriends on the boat. People want to get married on the boat. Not sure if I can do that, but I'm looking into it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, and so other people have tried to do smaller versions, and you were the one to look at and say, no, no, you need a bigger boat.
Yeah, somebody in Florida last year built a version of the boat. It's fabulous. It is the spitting image of the boat from Jaws, but it is only sort of about three-quarter size. And as soon as you get people on board, you can see it's not quite right. So I thought, no, it has to be a full-size version. My boat is also a proper working boat. It's a 1969 wooden boat, actually older than the boat that's in Jaws, and it's a proper working boat and still is. It's got a proper shark cage that can go in the water with people in it. It's and I think that's also important. I think the people who have come to visit the boat love the fact that it's a real boat. It's going out doing some research. It's spreading the word, of course, about the plight of sharks. As you know, we're losing 100 million sharks every year for various reasons. I mean, mostly shark fin soup and that sort of thing. It's just not good enough, and I'm hoping to use the boat to give something back to sharks because, as everyone knows, the film Jaws initially did not do sharks a great deal.
No.
Fair to say. So I like to. It's very important to me to give some of that back and to use all this publicity around the boat to make sure that the message gets out there. That shark lives matter.
They do. That's phenomenal.
And I'm guessing too, you said people become emotional on it because if it was the actual boat from the film, that thing would be roped off. Don't touch this. Don't sit in this chair. But here, you can walk on board. You can sit in the chair. You can go to the bow, like not was it Roy Scheider? No, it was Richard Dreyfuss on the front.
Yes.
And you have Narragansett crushed Narragansett beer cans in there, as if Quint had just gotten off the boat. How did you find all of this stuff that to make it authentic?
It was very difficult, but yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. If it was the real boat from Jaws, it would be, or you wouldn't be able to get anywhere near it. It
Yeah.
would be worth millions and millions. Yeah, but mine, you can go on it, and you literally step into the movie. There aren't many movies out there that you can literally step into, and it's like the smallest theme park in the world, I suppose. But you step into it, and you are in Jaws for an hour. My guests have the whole boat to themselves. They can go wherever they like. They do all the lines. They compare scars. They crush cans. They crush paper cups if they can't crush a can. and they have the most marvelous time. And they say it's just like actually being in the movie. And yeah, they get very emotional and choked up. Not just when I do the Indianapolis speech, but the whole thing is very emotional to them. Yeah, it's been very hard to get hold of things, especially over here in the UK, when everything's
Hmm.
sort of in America. The Narragansett beer cans is a good example. Very impossible to import into the UK without a liquor license. And so I've had to import empty ones, and even then they're incredibly expensive and stuff. So that, but I've got to have them on board, and people can bring their own beer cans and crush them if they like. But little things like the things that my wife thought no one would notice, like the Old Spice bottle that Roy Scheider uses to, he was
Hmm.
um, and in order to get, they actually changed. There's a ship on the Old Spice bottle, as you probably know, and it's in the early 1980s. They changed it to a smaller ship. So I had to get this bottle, a 1975 bottle of Old Spice from America, with the correct ship on it. Because and my wife said, well, people won't notice but of course it's the first thing they see
The hell they
on
won't. Yeah.
talk to it, and you go, oh, it's the Old Spice one, and it's the right one. It's got the right size ship on it. The Jaws fans, they don't miss a trick. They see everything, and they appreciate the effort that's gone into it when they get onto the boat. All these little sort of knickknacks that I put on the boat. There's a bottle of apricot brandy. There's even Iranian caviar on the boat. It's not easy to get hold of at the moment, to be honest.
Oh,
But and just lots of little things that on the boat which make the difference. And but the fans love it. They spot it and they appreciate and really enjoy it. Yeah.
Which was
And
harder to get, the caviar or the Old Spice?
Sorry.
Which was harder to get, the caviar or the Old Spice?
Oh, definitely the Old Spice. Yeah, I gave up on the caviar. I managed to get a tin, but the Old Spice. And to be honest, the Old Spice looks. There's actually Old Spice. It's 50-year-old Old Spice. It's still in the bottle.
so it is literally Old Spice.
I know, Sandy, I know exactly what that version
Yeah,
smells
yeah.
like.
Everyone smelled it and said, "Oh, it reminds me of my dad. He used to."
Right,
He used
Hmm.
completely. Yeah.
And how did you know what to get? Were you just studying the film? Did other fans have lists of what's on board?
Studying the film, obviously, and speaking to other people who'd studied it even more than me, and we got a consensus of what was required. The camping stove, the Bernzomatic camping stove, is an interesting piece because having done some research, it actually came to me from a guy in America. He said he bought it from a sort of a Universal Studios rummage sale, and they were getting rid of a lot of their old chintz and props and from their prop department. This was battered old thing, and it had a tray. It had a metal tray strapped to it, taped to it when it arrived. And I looked at it and I thought, well, could it be the one that was actually in the movie? But I didn't understand where this tray was because I looked at all the frames of the movie and I thought, well, what's with the tray? But in the most famous scene in the movie, where Roy Scheider backs into the cabin and says, You're going to need a bigger boat," which I hear a lot, by the way.
I'm sure, yeah.
I'm sure.
You can see the stove, and next to it, in that shot only, you don't see it at all in any of the shots in the movie. You can see the tray, it's up against the wall just under the porthole, and you can see some scratches on it and stuff. And so you start comparing the two. It is the tray from the movie, and it is also the stove from the movie, and that's really exciting. It only cost me $20. It's probably worth $50,000 now because it was in the movie, and it's so nice to have that on the boat. That's something that's quite iconic piece that was in the movie, because the rod that was in the movie and the harpoon gun that was in the movie, they were recently auctioned in Los Angeles a few weeks ago, and they got hundreds of thousands of dollars each, and anything was in the actual film. So to have those pieces on board is very special.
And to happen upon them in that way seems like this is fate. This is destined to be. They were supposed to be on board that boat.
Yeah, it's bonkers. A friend of mine who lives in Los Angeles, Universal Studios regularly sell off a lot of their old props and stuff and just raise a bit of cash.
Hmm.
And people buy them and think because they think might be in the movie. So yes, serendipitous certainly that he bought this and he sent it to me, and I had my doubts. I thought the chances are fairly slim, but then I thought, how many of these ovens would they have? Would Universal have? I mean, they have like a rack of them or something. But the tray is the fact that it came with the tray just made all the difference. Still got to be absolutely verified, but I'm pretty sure that it's the one that was in the movie.
And to put something like this together is clearly a labor of love. You spent years doing this. At what point did you sort of stand back from your work and look at it and go, it's becoming the Orca. This is exactly what I was hoping it would be.
Yeah, it's a great question actually, because I worked on it and worked on it for so long. I always said that it won't be the boat from Jaws, it won't be the Orca until the barrels go on. It's the yellow barrels,
Mm.
the shark jaws and the barrels at the front. And I was right. People were sort of watching me put this boat together and redo things and remake things, and the pulpit went on and the mast and stuff. And people are saying it kind of looks familiar, but I don't still quite know what it is. It wasn't until I sort of put the barrels on and stepped back, and it even made my heart skip a beat. I thought, oh my god,
Mm.
it's the boat from Jaws. And even now, every morning when I go down to see it, the very first thing when I glimpse her, I say my heart still skips that beat. I still get that buzz and think, oh look, it's the boat from Jaws. Wow! And then I think, oh yeah, I made that. I'd forgotten that.
Amazing. That's got to be the best feeling.
It is. I said to someone today, I've been doing TV and everything all day. I was up at 5 o'clock this morning doing Good Morning Britain, and I've been on the ITN news, and I've been over. I mean, I've only been sort of out for sort of 2 weeks, and it's all over the world. She's the most famous boat in the world at the moment, and which is great because she is the star of the show. The star of the show is the boat and the fans who come to see her. Um, but yeah, it's just fabulous. I couldn't believe how it's gone, and yeah, it's very enjoyable. As I said to someone this morning, I've got the best job in the world. I'm the tour guide on the Orca from Jaws, and I've got the best office in the world because when no one's around, I just sit in the fighting chair with my legs crossed with a beer and a fishing rod in the other hand, and I drink my Coke, whatever it is. I crush the can, and I get a round of applause from the quayside.
That's amazing. That's just fantastic.
That's like, yeah, I mean, just the daily thing of you're on the Orca, you're part of this. And you said you have the Indianapolis speech memorized. Was
Yes,
that?
I do the Indianapolis speech. I do it quite well. I'm getting quite good at it. I've been doing it. I do it for my guests. Excuse me, if they want to. And I the chairman, the secretary of the Indianapolis Survivors Association, Jim Belcher, whose father was a survivor of the Indianapolis. Lovely, lovely man, lovely people, the Indianapolis survivors' families and everything. He got into contact with me and he said how thrilled he was that I had a picture of the crew of the Indianapolis on the boat, and I had a book. 317 survived. This is 316, but that's another story. And it's signed by 12 of the survivors of the Indianapolis. It's one of my most prized possessions.
Yeah.
And he said he was absolutely thrilled that I was keeping the memory alive and that I had these on the boat and that I was being respectful. And he gave me permission to change the speech because obviously, probably most people know, Robert Shaw gives the wrong date. He says June 29th of June 1945, and of course it's actually the 30th of July 1945 when the boat actually sank. So I said, would you give me permission to change the speech to honour the guys? And he said, yeah, actually, I would like that because I think it is important that we get the date right. And I don't think no one seems to mind. I think it's a nice little touch that I actually changed the speech and I have the right date on there. I think Robert Shaw always said he regretted that they didn't get the date right, and meant no disrespect by it. But but so I sort of put that right, which is great.
Yeah. How long did it take you to memorize it? Or did you have it already committed to memory?
Um, yeah, there's a difference having it committed to memory and then
This
redoing
is
it,
true.
especially when the cameras go on. If
Hmm.
people like to sit there and let me do it, and it's not too bad, but they always want to video me doing it. And I do it quite well, I have to say. I'm getting the hang of it. It's still very emotional for me, and it's very. I'm surprised, or maybe not, how emotional it is for the people. They literally burst into tears when I start this speech, and that's great. I kind of love that. So I've had a few people not so much criticize the speech, but they come up with some lovely, quirky sort of things like you take your hat off at the wrong moment. Um, it literally, actually, it's a fair point. Quint takes his hat off when he starts the speech as I say, a homage to his fellow shipmates. And so he says, Japanese submarine slammed two torpedoes into our side, chief. And then he takes his hat off, and then he carries on. So I've got that right, and I'm working on the voice, and so many people coming down, a lot of people coming down to the boat who are, excuse me, who are Quint impersonators, and very good ones too, and some actors and stuff who do it a lot better than I do. So they'll get their chance as well.
You guys have an Indianapolis off to see who does it better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a guy coming down next week, and I said we'll both sit there. We'll both do it. We'll share a line each, and we'll see who wins at the end of it. But
Yeah.
I literally do it about 10 times a day, and I'm getting the hang of it. I've stopped fluffing my lines.
Well, I mean, up against somebody else, that the can of Narragansett has been thrown. You have to pick it up and
Yeah,
finish. Have you heard from anybody? I mean, Spielberg is busy with his own things, but have you heard from any of the cast or crew who I don't know if they've had a chance since it's only been open a little bit now, who want to come over, who want to see this? Have you got anything from anyone involved with the film?
you kind of sort of hear things. People, these big stars, you know, they don't contact you directly, so you hear it through their agents, and stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, Richard Dreyfuss has said he would love to come on board when if he ever comes back over to England. That would be very cool. I believe Spielberg is aware of my boat, and so I'm sure if he came over, he would love to go and sit on it in the dark like he used to back in the day. Um,
Have some terrible
People
flashbacks, no
like
doubt.
yeah, people like Tom Cruise, his people have been in touch. I thought it was a joke at first, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's a real deal. They said Tom's a huge fan when he comes over. Could he take the boat out? He's a pilot. He's qualified to do this sort of thing. I said, well, Hooper drives the boat, but in this case, if really does turn up, I can make an exception. Yeah, lots of sort of quite well-known people who just love Jaws. I mean, to be honest, every actor, every producer and director love Jaws because it's an actor's film, it's a producer's film, it's a director's film. They love it. So some fairly big names have been sort of said that if we're in the area, we definitely would like to come on board the boat because if you want to go on board the boat from Jaws, there's only one, and unfortunately, well, not, or maybe not, not from where I'm sitting. It's in little old Conway in North Wales.
And what's it like for you as I think you said, like as a fan of this film, like so many people are, to all of a sudden have this piece of the film or have this thing that everyone is sort of gathering to, it's sort of being called like a beacon of, well, if you're not a real Jaws fan unless you've sailed on the Orca too. you're sort of
Yeah,
now part of the story.
yeah, it's magic. It's magical. It's magical. It's so worth it to see the look on these people's faces. As I said, I've been doing TV today. The reporters, their cameramen, and their sound recordists have been so giddy. They've not been able to do their job. They've been the lines are going all over the place. They suddenly have to sit down. The cameraman at one point was so giddy he had to put his camera down because he couldn't hold it straight. He was shaking with joy. The sound recorders kept taking his sound recorder off and just going and sitting in the chair. And again, kind of forgot why he was there. It was just so wonderful. These people have been everywhere and seen everything.
Yeah.
But my boat has just slayed them. They were completely gone. And the sound recordists, of course, love it because there's a very famous story about George when one of the boats suddenly started to sink and the actors were like floating around, and Spielberg said, "Get a boat over there and save the actors." And this old 70-year-old guy who was doing the sound recording was holding the sound recorder above his head, and he said, "Fuck the actors, save the sound department." And so, of course, it's entered into the folklore of the sound recording fraternity. For sound recordist, it's Mecca, and everyone's quite surprised when they go onto the boat, especially the TV people. But everyone really is although the boat is full size, it's still quite a small area to be filming and stuff. And I have to explain that in the original boat they could take out windows and side pieces so they could get the camera in there because it's a very tight, confined space. And they're quite surprised how difficult it is to film in there, even with today's small little TV cameras and video cameras and stuff. And of course, back in the day, they had these huge cameras and stuff. It must have been really something. You have to use different lenses to make it look bigger. And it was a real tour de force of cinematography. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just the levels and layers of not just the fandom, but just all of it. It's just incredible. And I mean, it's awesome. I love it. I just want to come be over there and be doing this in person.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's as I said, it's so worthwhile. I mean, there are people who are coming who are clearly Jaws nuts, and they literally explode when they see the boat, and they can barely walk, can't barely talk. They fluff all their lines to start with. They're so excited, and they start to get themselves together and put it all together. That's great. There are some people who came today, and two of them are Jaws nuts. Two of them weren't. They just said, "Well, one of them said I saw the film once when it came out, and he said I haven't seen it since." But even he thoroughly enjoyed being on the boat because it's an original, it's a real boat, and it looks like a real boat. It smells like a real 50-year-old boat. It's great, and he loved it too. And he soon started to get into it. He said, "Actually, I remember." I remember this and I remember that, even from just seeing the film once in 1975. It's that sort of movie. It really does stick in people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
As I've got older, as I said, I was 9 when I first saw it. I'm 60 this year. I know I don't look it.
I don't look at it at all. No.
So I've grown up with these characters, and I've sort of got to their age, and now I'm even sort of past their age. And so every time I watch the movie, I see more of it, of the maturity. I see more of the character. I see more of myself in these characters as I've got older. And so you never watch it and don't get something back out of it, even today. There are a few movies, and certainly not made these days, that you would get that sort of feedback from. It's great.
It's so true. It's hard to hear that we're getting older than they are.
It's scary, yeah, when you see it, because Robert Shaw looks very old in the movie. And
I was going to say, we will always be younger than Quint.
True.
So it is. I still don't see myself any older than 22, but it's quite scary getting old. But Jaws, 50 years old, still as fresh as the day it was first released.
Absolutely. And I mean, and look at as you're getting older, what an amazing existence you have and the amount of joy you're bringing to people and being able to make that your office and being able to do that every day and to have created something that you don't look at when you wake up in the morning and go, "Oh, there it is," that you look at and you're like, oh my gosh, there's the orca. Oh wait, I did
Yeah,
that. Like how
yeah.
incredible.
It's
Like,
very much, it's very much that. I hope it, I think it always will be.
yeah.
So I take people down. I've got the best job in the world. I take people down. I go through everything that's on the boat. Go through a few safety things because it's a proper boat, it's a real boat. And if you trip and fall on that boat, you're almost certainly going to hit something very sharp.
Yeah.
We've got the gaff hooks. We've got, I mean, everything's on there. I've got the rifle. I've got the harpoon gun. I've got the machete. And I've got the shark dart repeater. Everything is in the movie. Is on the boat, and all rather dangerous looking. So I go through a bit of a safety feature. I tell them, please don't go out on the deck waving rifles about. I mean, obviously everyone wants to pick up the rifle. It's an inert rifle. It's completely deactivated. It's not a real one. It's not America. And so obviously they can point it at their camera and say, "Smile, you son of a bitch." There was a lovely moment the other day. A gentleman, he brought his 12-year-old daughter. And she was stood with the camera, and he's pointing his rifle at his 12-year-old daughter right into her face where the camera is, and saying, "Smile, you son of a bitch! Smile!" That's the only first and last time you say that to your daughter while pointing your rifle at her. It was just so funny. But yeah, no, it's as I said. I go through the safety things, and then it takes about 10 minutes to go through everything, what everything is. And then I step off the boat and leave them to it. So they have the whole boat to themselves for an hour. They can recreate all the scenes. And I say the way I do it is there's only 4 to 6 people on the boat. So it's a family group or a group of friends. And so there's nobody else on the boat, so they can make utter fools of themselves, and there's no one else there to sort of say, well, what are you doing? And so they have the most wonderful time. They turn into kids, they do all the lines, they compare scars, crushing cans, doing all the lines. And they even had somebody the other day, they were quite a young couple, and they were probably mid-20s. And I thought, that they got really properly into it. And I looked into the cabin, and one of them's on the floor. And he's opened the cabin door, the internal cabin door, and he's on the floor, and he's recreating the scene when Shiver falls over into through the cabin door, and he's lying in the water. He's recreating that scene lying on the floor. Really extraordinary. It's really, really funny.
For more information and to schedule a time to go aboard the Orca 2, check out their website, sharkboat.co.uk.